All right, what'd you guys think? Little new intro to kick off this dividend happy hour. But anyway, welcome, my friends. Welcome back to another dividend happy hour. I'm so stoked to be back with you for another week. And I hope you all had a great week. I hope you're having a great Friday. Hope you're about to have a great weekend as well. Now, tonight, guys, we're going to be talking about a particular dividend growth stock. This is one of my favorite companies, and it's been, its share price has taken a hit over these last couple of months. Let's just say that. And because of that, I actually just started adding a little bit more to this position again, which we're going to talk about later on in the stream. We're going to go through this company a little bit, spend some time talking about it. I bet you guys can guess which one it is, but we'll save that for later on in the stream. Before we get into anything, guys, grab whatever it is you're sipping on tonight. Hi. You guys, we're kicking it off on a good note. If you haven't read the rules to the Dividend Happy Hour drinking game, you guys know when Peanut makes an appearance, it's time to take a swig, which is perfect timing because we're about to kick this off with a little cheer. So grab whatever it is you're sipping on, guys. Here's to you. Thank you so much for tuning in and hanging out with me tonight. These Dividend Happy Hours are always a blast. I look forward to them every week, and I hope you guys do as well. And also, here's to the pursuit of that sweet, sweet cash flow. And here's the pursuit of financial freedom, because that's really what we're all after. That's what's bringing us together tonight. So here's to that. Here's to you guys. Thank you again for your time tonight. Let me know a couple of things here in the live chat or in the comments below if you're watching the replay. Number one, what did you buy this week? What did you add to your portfolio? I'm curious to know what's looking good to you guys out there and what you're putting your money into right now. So let me know that. Number two, what are you sipping on tonight? What did you bring to drink to the happy hour? I'm personally just sipping on a little Sprite Zero, which I love. Been loving drinking these guys lately. I've told you guys this before, but I've been keeping it very clean this month. I've got the diet dialed in January. I've got the training, the working out dialed in January. I'm like a well-oiled machine right now, and it feels good. And I haven't had any alk so far in 2024, but the in-laws are going to be coming to town in the next couple of weeks. And I know we're going to have some fun on the strip. So I'll be sure to indulge there. But in the meantime, guys, we're keeping it dialed in. And I actually just hit a new low weigh-in this morning. A lot of you guys know I've been trying to diet down a bit. And so being able to keep it clean these last few weeks has definitely made an impact. So I'm looking forward to keeping that going. But anyway, enough rambling. Let me know what you're sipping on. That's number two. Number three, did anything cool happen in your guys' portfolio this week? Did you hit any dividend income milestones? Maybe you reached 100 shares of SCHD, or maybe you hit your first $10,000 in the portfolio. Anything cool like that that's happening for you guys? I want to hear about it here in the live chat, because we're going to give some shout outs to you guys out there and your accomplishments. So let me know those few things in the live chat or in the comments below if you're watching the replay. I want to go through and see who we got in the building. I know all the usual suspects are here. I see starting at the top. Let's go to, we got John in the building. Good to see you, John. We got my man Leroy Skywalker in the building, aka SCHD Stan, aka Craig. Good to see you, man. We got G the Don here. Good to see you, man. We got In No Way Affiliated. Ryan, you are my favorite, my brother. Well, thank you, man. I really appreciate that. That's you're too kind, and you guys are all too kind. I sincerely appreciate all the support. And once again, seriously, thank you for your time. I so appreciate you guys always tuning into these things. I can't believe you guys put up with my gibberish so much. We got my man, Sir Dude Bro Man here. Good to see you. Charles here says, "Hey, Shouty. Hey, Shouty. It's my birthday. Happy birthday, man. Happy birthday, Charles. What are you doing to celebrate? Let us know here in the chat what you got going on tonight. You gonna throw a few margaritas back, or what do you got going on over there? Let me know. We got the Lean Mean Dean Machine. Good to see you, my friend. Good to see you. We got Greg here who says, "Where's my pimp suit with this music?" I don't know, man. I don't know, but that new intro, I thought it was something a little fun. Just add a little, kick off the stream on a little upbeat note. So I think that'll be here to stay. But we'll see how it goes. We got Anthony here. Good to see you. Pat says LOL on the countdown. Yeah. The RN Survival Guide. First time in the live stream. Thank you for tuning in. I hope you enjoy it. And just in case this is your first time tuning into the Dividend Happy Hour, we do this pretty much every single week, unless like I'm on vacation or, some sort of scheduling conflict or something. We do the Dividend Happy Hour every Friday night at 5 p.m. Pacific time, 8 p.m. Eastern time. So hope to see you all here every week, cocktail in hand or Sprite Zero in hand or milk, water, Coke Zero, whatever it is you prefer to drink. I'd love to see you guys here, same time next week and every week after that. So, excuse me, we got Strite here, and I see a super chat just came in. We'll scroll down and take a look at that in just a moment. Sorry, guys. We got Kama, Kevin, Striper Kid, Charles once again. Oh, there we go. G the Don's up 2% this week. Good stuff. Let's see. Yeah, there we go. Lucas says, it helps me out. The intro helps him out because he always gets hit with 2 commercials at the beginning. Let's jump over to the super chat real quick from Albert. No comment, just a quick $10 super chat. Well, thank you, man. I really appreciate you, man or sir. Want to be respectful either way. But thank you so much for the $10 super chat. That's really nice. I appreciate that. Let's keep going here. I see Chris drinking a Rockstar Punch. Very nice. Very, very nice. Let's see. I'm getting to the part here in the chat where you guys are sharing your purchases. I'm just going to go through and see what some of the common ones are. SCHD, obviously very common. Yeah, that's a weekly buy for me as well. SCHD and VU. I see some Bristol Myers Squibb. That one's definitely come down in price. Some Visa, good pickup. I had a little bit of that this week as well. I see some Starbucks, Texas Roadhouse. Thomas started a position in Texas Roadhouse. Good move. We got Anthony here who says, it's been a long time since I've joined a stream. Well, man, welcome back. Happy to see you in the chat. Tony picked up some JEPQ. Good stuff. Let's see. There we go. SCHD Stan. Buying Starbucks around $92 per share, drinking some Stella. Very nice. You know, believe it or not, I actually don't think I've ever had a Stella. I might have had a sip. One of my old roommates used to love Stella. But I can't say that I've ever actually ordered or bought any Stella for myself. That and Heineken. I've never had a Heineken. And as far as beer goes in general, I like stouts. And I want to like Guinness, but it just, I don't know. I feel like there's so many better stouts out there than Guinness. And I've also heard that if you get it from the source, it's a lot better than the stuff that they sell over here in the United States. I could be wrong, but you guys will have to let me know, all of you European investors watching, you'll have to let me know if that's the case. Or if you just have any general thoughts on Guinness, I'd be curious to know if you guys feel the same way. But anyway, I see a lot more Visa. I see some Realty Income. You guys are buying Realty Income. BMY is a very popular one. Chevron, I see. Snap-on. There you go. Let's see. There we go. Journeyman's drinking a cherry Coke, keeping it in the Coca-Cola family. Sprite's also owned by Coca-Cola, so got to rep your set. There you go. Nice. Blaze says, drinking a cup of coffee, and it just so happens I bought some Starbucks today. Nice. Good stuff. There you go. There we go. This is a really cool milestone. Thomas also hit $2,000 in my Roth and reached $1 a week in dividends today. Good job, man. That's huge. Keep it up. This is cool too. Another little milestone. Trucksama got to 100 shares of OKE, which is a company I've heard of, but I'm truthfully not too familiar with. There we go. Joyce sipping on an ice cold Coke. Once again, keep it in the family. I love it. Oh, this is awesome. Look at this, guys. Morik, I bought an apartment for renting out in Germany. Really happy about it. Good job, my friend. You'll have to keep me posted on how that goes. Once you get a tenant in there and once it starts cash flowing, you'll have to let me know how the experience is for you. Definitely keep me updated. Mark has another cool milestone here. Reached $1,200 for the year. Is that $1,200 in dividends, I'm guessing? If so, good job. Let's see. Unless you mean you reached $1,200 in annual dividend income, averaging $100 a month, which is great. Good job. Either way, good job. I initially read that as reached $1,200 for the year, and I added a so far to the end of that, meaning you reached $1,200 already in dividends in 2024, which would be very impressive. But either way, good job. Oh, this is great too. Jordan says hit 30K in the portfolio. Small goal, but hit 30K. Man, you got to take all the victories that you can get. That's huge. That's really great. So good job. 30K. I remember the jump from, it was crazy. I feel like the jump from 30K to 40K in my portfolio happened relatively quickly. And then for me, it felt like 40K to 50K took a bit more time. And, obviously it just kind of depends what's happening in the market at the time. And then 50 to 60. I mean, you guys saw that over these last couple of months. 50 to 60 was like in the blink of an eye, but I don't know. Oh, this is another cool milestone. So Anthony says hit 50K in the account. Good job, man. That's great. Halfway to that 6 figures. Good job. Let's keep going. Charles says, "All I'm doing is listening to you and drinking beer." Well, what a way to what a way to spend a birthday. Let's do a quick toast to Charles here on his birthday. I'd sing to you, Charles, but I don't want to make 163 people go deaf. So I'll just say happy birthday and here's to you, my friend. Thank you for all the support, and I hope you have a blessed day and a blessed year. Best year yet. Let's keep going here. Yeah, Boone Wolf says, got my Earl Grey tea tonight after such a lame week. I feel like it was a pretty uneventful week on the market. I don't know if you guys feel the same way, but overall, I'd say the portfolio was pretty flat. Not too much action. So been kind of quiet, which is fine. Let's see here. Let's keep going. What you got against green bottles? Man, nothing. I just prefer green cans, apparently. That's my thing. So oh, Charles says, don't be like me. I drink Heineken, cold or warm, don't matter to me. Yeah. I know. Adon says you're breaking Russ's heart with that Guinness comment. I know he's such a big Guinness fan. And I really want to like Guinness more than I do because I really do love stouts. But I don't know. It just, to me, Guinness is, to me, it just tastes very watered down. And maybe that's just the nitro, there's like nitro something or other in it, right? And I don't know the correct terminology, but maybe that has something to do with it. It makes it a bit less carbonated, maybe a bit more smooth, and maybe that's why I feel that way. I'm not quite sure. And I'll tell you what, too, it's hard to find a good Guinness out here in Vegas, or excuse me, it's hard to find a good stout out here in Vegas. You'd be surprised. I mean, there's just Vegas being Vegas. You'd think you could get any sort of alcohol that you're looking for, but I have really struggled to find a good stout. But just got to keep trying. They're out there, I'm sure. So, let's see. Let's keep going. Oh, there you go. This is a great goal too. Sir Dude Bro Man. I forgot to mention that I maxed out my Roth for last year and for this year. Good job, man. Good job. Let's see. I'm almost caught up in the chat. And once I get caught up in the chat here, guys, we will get into the main event here in just a moment. So let's see. Ooh, this is a good question. What's your favorite stout? So there's one stout that I really love from, I think the brewery is Lost Coast. Let me see. Let me double check this. Lost Coast. It's called an 8-ball stout. Lost Coast 8-ball stout. I think that's what it is. Let me see if I can, I'll pull it up here so you can see it. This is what is what it looks like. This is the label. Let me jump over to one sec. Let me jump over here. Add that. You see that? So that's the 8-ball stout. I'd say this is one of my more favorite stouts. But there's a handful of good ones out there. And some of the other names are escaping me, but in general, I'd say I do like them a bit sweeter. Like if I find like a good dessert type stout, like if you find me like a peanut butter oatmeal stout or something like that, or like something that's maybe got some chocolatey or some coffee in it, that sort of thing is definitely up my alley. So, oh, there you go. Drinking a Guinness to my guy. Nice. Okay, guys. Looks like we are all caught up here in the chat. Yeah. Belching Beaver peanut butter stout is awesome. I feel like I've heard of that. Belching Beaver peanut butter stout. Maybe, yeah, that looks kind of familiar. Interesting. You guys seen this? Any of you guys had this? I feel like I've definitely seen that somewhere. I've never tried it, but yeah, it definitely seems like an interesting one. But anyway, guys, enough jibber jabbering. How about we get into the main event? So in case you're just now tuning in or just recently hopped in the stream, tonight we're talking about a particular dividend growth stock. It's one that I have in the portfolio, and it's seen a bit of a dip in share price. I mean, in the last month, it's down a little bit, as we'll see. In the last year, it's most certainly down. but really most of the losses have come just in the last couple of months, like since November. And before I reveal which one this is, do you guys have any guesses? I'm sure some of you guys do. It's not a very hard one to guess, but let me know here in the chat if if you've got any guesses as to which company we're talking about tonight. And yeah, okay, I'll wait for the guesses to come in before I say anything more. I see Starbucks, I see Chevron, more Starbucks. Good guesses. Definitely some good guesses. Let's keep going. Oh, when are you doing the watch chat? I'll circle back to watch stuff after this stuff. I see Starbucks. Yeah, Shamir says MPW, classic dividend growth stock. Kevin says Hershey, the Hershey company. That's a really good guess as well. That one's definitely come down, right? Nexstar Media, really good guess. I don't own that one, but good guess. Procter and Gamble, Realty Income, Starbucks. Okay, you guys are pretty good. See if any last ones come in. APX. What is APX? APX. I don't know what that is. But anyway, I'll just let's just make the reveal here. We're talking about Starbucks. You guys know it. Here, I'm actually gonna give a little more screen real estate here. Let me see if I can make this a bit bigger for you guys. How's that? We'll just do that right there. So we're talking about Starbucks, guys. And in the last month, as you can see here, Starbucks is down almost 4%. It had I was going to say it had a decent day today. It was only up 0.5% though. What did it do this week? It kind of started to rebound a little bit this week. It's up about 2% in the last 5 days or so, but still for the month, it's down 4%. But in the last year, it's down about 10%. So while the S&P was up and the NASDAQ and the Dow were up quite a bit in 2023, Starbucks saw quite the decline, taking a bit of a hit in share price. And in the last year, it peaked at about 114, 115 per share. And more recently, guys, its peak was we can see it really jumped right here. This is probably earnings, I would guess, right about here, jumped on earnings. And then it climbed up to about 107. Okay. And since right here, November 16th, it's been at a very steady decline. And the catalyst for this decline, November 16th right here, it really kicked it off. And I think we can blame this headline right here. So the one on the far left there says Starbucks Red Cup Day rolls on despite strikes at small subset of stores. So there were about 200 locations that went on strike for Red Cup Day to protest Starbucks's, I guess, poor negotiations with the union, which, as many of you guys know, is one of the biggest thorns in the company's side right now. This union issue, it's been a lot of noise around it, which we'll talk a little bit more about momentarily. But after this, guys, a few weeks later, there was another headline that came out that really, didn't do the share price too well. Starbucks falls again as concerns rise that the holiday quarter may be weak. And these concerns, interestingly enough, came after reportings of the poor Red Cup Day, which is, like we just talked about, that's where all these strikes were and these protests were. But anyway, this also pushed the share price down. And this third and final headline came later in December, or actually looks like a week after the second one there. Starbucks accused by Teamsters of unfair bargaining. So we've got some other bad news regarding the union. And so having said all of that, guys, it begs the question, with all this union stuff, how big of a deal is it? We're hearing a lot of noise about the union. It's, pretty much all of these headlines that we just saw in some way tie back to the union issues. So is that going to be the downfall of Starbucks? I know there's some people out there who think that, yeah, this is going to wreck Starbucks. This is terrible for the company. Or is it just noise? And is it not as big of a deal as it's being made out to be, if that makes sense? So which one is it? Is it the downfall of Starbucks, or is it just noise? It's tough to say at this point. I think it's too soon to tell. But taking a look at some numbers over here, let me pull this back up on the screen. So going over to this next slide, the most recent number that I found for the unionized stores was 377. You can see it highlighted there. And some other quick stats. So just here in North America, Starbucks has almost 18,000 stores. You can see that at the bottom. To be exact, they have 17,810, which means that these unionized stores, that 377, only makes up about 2%, 2.1% of the total store count just here in North America. And fun fact, like just in New York City alone, I think there's like 350 different Starbucks locations. So basically all these unionized stores are the same amount as the stores that exist in New York City. Kind of a fun fact. But going back over here, so the unionized stores only make up about 2.1% of the North American stores. But looking at that just around the world on a global basis, there are just over 38,000 Starbucks locations in total around the world, which means that these unionized stores don't even make up 1%. It's just like a hair short of 1% of the total stores, which obviously is a very small percentage. So, with that said, it doesn't seem like the union will be the downfall of the company at this point, but it's still something to keep an eye on. And we'll have to see how all of this progresses because I don't know. There's a chance it could get out of hand. I don't know. I don't know. I don't have enough experience with all that stuff to know to really predict which way it's going to go. But I think it's just kind of a wait and see thing at this point. But I do think it helps to know those numbers and just to see just how small of a percentage these unionized stores do make up of the overall store count for the company. So that was kind of interesting to see. I actually didn't know that those stats until today. Now, having said all that, I'm still buying. Like I said, I started buying some more Starbucks again this week. And I'll show you my position in just a second, but let me show you this thing I put up here. So I posted about this a few days ago over on Blossom, which by the way, if you're not following me over on Blossom, definitely do so. I'm posting on that app. It's a really great app. It's kind of like Twitter just for investors. But I'm posting on there just about every day. It's a really solid community of investors, and I'd love to connect with you guys on there. So shoot me a follow. There's a link to Blossom in the description of the video. You can see my full portfolio and see posts just like this one where I'm talking about my trades. So earlier this week, I added 3 more shares of Starbucks. My average cost is close to $90 per share, so I feel comfortable adding to these levels. And if we go back over here, jumping over to my free dividend portfolio tracking spreadsheet, which I just released a new version this week. I hope you guys checked it out. If not, once again, there is a link in the description to this. But here's my Starbucks position in full. With those 3 shares that I purchased this week, right now I'm sitting at about 43.6 shares at an average cost of $90.35. So the share price is still a couple bucks up above, or a few bucks rather, up above my cost basis, but I still feel okay adding at these levels. And when I bought earlier in the week, the share price was a little bit lower. But with that said, going back over here, let's go look at the 5-day. Now, like we saw, Starbucks rebounded a little bit this last week, climbed another 2%, and I really enjoyed seeing it like right around here, sub 92. And if next week brings just more of this, I don't know if I'll add more to Starbucks, but if it stays about where it's at, sub 94, 95, kind of low to mid 90s, even dips below 90, then I'll continue to add some more shares of Starbucks while simultaneously continuing to add to Visa, because as you guys know, I just recently started that position as well. And I don't want to put that on the back burner to buy more Starbucks. I'd like to do both simultaneously, and I can do that. But nonetheless, guys, just looking forward. I mean, as you know, Starbucks is one of my favorite companies. It's one that I definitely talk about the most. And I'm actually, I won't even get into it. I was going to talk about the Starbucks book I'm reading, but who cares? Anyway, big fan of Starbucks. And I think despite the challenges that they're facing, and throw into all that too, a potentially weakening economy, which will be a headwind for Starbucks. Maybe not. It's kind of interesting because, and I was actually reading about this in the book during the great financial crisis, the last, major economic crisis. Howard Schultz talked about this, thinking that when everything really, hit the fan and things really went south, they thought the stores would be empty. But as it turned out, people were still going to Starbucks, but they maybe just weren't going as often. And an example of that is because there's people who do go multiple times a day. So the example that they used in the book was, instead of Cindy coming in for her morning coffee and egg bites and then coming back later in the afternoon for her second coffee or whatever, she just comes once a day. So instead of going twice, she just comes once. Or if someone, is used to going 5 days a week, maybe they would cut back. Excuse me, I'm sorry. Maybe they'd cut back and just go 2 to 3 times a week. So, it does have an impact, but it doesn't stop the customers from coming in completely, because people are hooked on their Starbucks. I don't know. You can say it's $5 coffee, it's $7 coffee. You'd never buy that. That's fine. But many people do. Many people do. And many people are religious about their Starbucks. So with all that said, despite the headwinds, whatever, I still think the future is bright for Starbucks. And actually last month they put out, hold on a sec, it's frozen over. Okay. It's frozen on my screen over here. There we go. We're good. Sorry, guys. Going back over here, last month, Starbucks released with the official taking over of their new CEO. him officially coming to the helm and Howard Schultz making his exit, they came out with this reinvention plan. They call it the triple shot reinvention plan. And there's a few things. There's a few things that I like about this. I mean, you can see it looks like there's in total like 5 different stages: elevate the brand, strengthen and scale digital, truly become global, unlock efficiency, and reinvigorate partner culture. I mean, all of these sound really good. But dissecting some of those bullet points there's a few that stuck out to me. The first one here is run great stores through better operations. Now, there's a couple different components to this. They're seeing a shift in the customer base where Starbucks used to be, the goal for Starbucks used to be to have it be the third place. You've got your home, you've got work, and then Starbucks is kind of this third meeting place or hangout place that you spend a lot of time in the same way that you do at home or work. As time goes on, there's been more of a shift to drive-through. So Starbucks is going to make efforts, and this is already underway, make efforts to transition more to an emphasis on drive-through locations. And I think something like, and if you guys know this stat, let me know in the chat or in the comments. I think something like 70% of their sales come from drive-through. So it's a pretty big deal. So, but anyway, the second component to this run great stores through better operations, the better operations part. Now, as a pretty, and I might go off on a little tangent here, so I apologize in advance. As a frequent Starbucks customer, and when I say frequent, I maybe go once a week. So nothing too crazy, but as a somewhat frequent Starbucks customer, I can say that operationally, the one thing that I notice that can be improved is the consistency. So I feel like I experience this every time when I go with my fiance. You know, she'll order more or less the same drink every single time. It's like a shaken espresso with, you know, a couple pumps of this, that, or whatever. So it's some sort of customized drink that she found on TikTok. And there's a billion of those, by the way. That's a big thing, is customizing drinks. People get so many ideas from TikTok, which is a great thing for Starbucks, by the way, having all these people making, you got Starbucks influencers talking about the drink of the month or whatever it is, sharing all these different Starbucks recipes that people go and try. Anyway, like I said, could be a tangent. But anyway, the issue is consistency. My fiance, she'll get the same drink pretty much every time, whatever it is, the double shaken espresso. And how it tastes and how it comes out can differ from location to location, depending on which barista makes the beverage. And there's been numerous times where it's not come out quite right. And you could say something, but she's nice and doesn't want to, you know, ruffle any feathers. So she just takes it. But I'm much more simple. I'll just get like a dark grande dark roast. And lately I've been putting a little bit of sweet cream in there. So that's kind of a hard thing to screw up. So for me, it's a lot more consistent. But for those who like to customize their drinks, it's a bit more difficult to get that consistency. So operationally, I think that's one thing that can be improved on. And this is not something new to Starbucks, by the way. This was an issue for them back in when Howard Schultz, I was reading about this in the book as well. When Howard Schultz came back as CEO in 2007 and 2008, this was an issue at that same point in time as well. And what they did was they actually closed. There was one day or a series of days where they closed every single store in the United States and retrained all of their employees to pour the perfect shot. And just to try and bring back that consistency. And it helped. It actually made a big difference. But anyway, long story short, that's one of the issues that I see operationally with Starbucks that would be great to have fixed. So, and I've heard them talk about that as well before in other places. So it's good to see them mentioning that sort of stuff. So that's one component to the reinvention plan. Oh, and by the way, I meant to say another place that has the same exact issue is Chipotle, which you guys know I'm also a somewhat regular customer at Chipotle. These days I maybe go once a month, but I was going like every week for a while, as you guys know. Once I stopped doing that, though, I'll tell you what, it really helped with the weight loss. But consistency at Starbucks consistency at Chipotle is also an issue. I get the same thing every time I go to Chipotle. I'll get a burrito, white rice, black beans, chicken, cheese. That's pretty much it. Vegetables in there too, the fajita veggies. That's pretty much it. And sometimes, guys, I get this behemoth burrito, okay? And then some other times it's just like a wimpy burrito. So anyway, the consistency is not there, but that's just one of the risks that comes with that sort of model where you welcome that customization, where it's built around customization. Different people are going to make it differently, and that's just one of the risks. That's a hard thing to keep in check, I'd imagine. But anyway, going back over here, this next point, sorry for the tangent. This next point that jumped out to me, expand to 35,000 stores by 2030 outside of North America. Now, when you hear about Starbucks growth, I mean, a lot of people think they're too saturated here in the United States, which they may be. Comps are up year over year, which is great, and they're still adding new stores, but really outside of the United States seems to be the big growth play for Starbucks moving forward. And there's two key places it seems that they have their sights set on. China's number one, as that's probably the we've all talked about that before. Growth efforts in China are well underway, which also poses some risk because there's some potential political risk there, and I don't know that there's definitely risk for Starbucks in that regard. But it does seem that the Chinese population is receiving Starbucks pretty warmly. So, and it's interesting too because that's not typically, it historically hasn't been a coffee drinking culture, a coffee drinking company. It's more so tea. So you pretty much by entering China, you pretty much have to get people to start drinking this new beverage. But anyway, it seems to be working so far, and so they're expecting continued growth in China in a pretty big way. And also India is another place that they're starting to look at as another growth place. And they're not the only one either. I mean, another company like Williams Sonoma has also been looking at expanding more in India. So we'll see what happens there. But 35,000 stores by 2030 outside of North America, pretty lofty goal. We'll see what happens with that. Moving on to this third point there, progressively expand margin. That's never a bad thing. Pretty self-explanatory too. I don't really have to do too much explaining to that one. It seems like too they've already kind of done that a little bit. I mean, this is their full year results from last year. In 2023, revenue jumped 12%, which is very nice top line growth. But the earnings grew 20%. So last year, earnings grew at a faster clip than revenue. So seeing a little bit of profit margin expansion there. Really like to see that. But then this next point right here. Continue to enhance, and this ties back to the union stuff as well. Continue to enhance the partner employment proposition. Excuse me. So I don't know how familiar I don't know how familiar you guys are with this from Starbucks, but they've always done a good job of giving perks to their employees or their partners, as they call them. From the start, Starbucks has always offered benefits and stock compensation plans. And they've always tried to give their partners a little bit more. And I think, at least according to the book, they were the first retail company like that to do anything like that, to give their part-time employees benefits and to give them stock compensation. But with that said, I mean, with the union stuff as of late, it does seem that that's kind of, keeping your partners happy or keeping your employees happy seems to, at least that select group seems to be like an insatiable thirst. I don't know. Maybe I'm speaking out of term there. But it seems to be a hard thing to fulfill. So, but either way, it is good to see Starbucks wanting to take care of their employees, I think, and hopefully some more efforts in this department will help pacify some of the union stuff. But we're just gonna have to see what happens, guys. It'll be an interesting year for Starbucks, to say the least, and it'll actually these next couple of weeks will be really interesting for Starbucks because they're actually reporting earnings on the 30th. So it will be definitely going to be on the lookout for that. I definitely look forward to listening to that call and seeing what they have to say. This will be the first call with the new CEO, I believe, first quarterly call with the new CEO officially at the helm. So yeah, it'll be interesting stuff, guys. But that's my spiel on Starbucks. I feel good about it. Over the next at least 5-10 years, I'm going to be with Starbucks. So unless something crazy happens, it's one of my ride or dies. So I'm looking forward to the future with this company. But like I said, I want to put it back on you guys, and I want to hear your thoughts. What do you think about Starbucks right now? What do you think about the union stuff? What do you think about the company as an investment in general? I'd love to get your guys' thoughts on the matter. Especially, I'd like to hear what you think about all this union stuff. I think a lot of us think the same way about it, just from what I remember in previous conversations. But let me know in the chat. Let me know in the comments below your guys' take on the company overall, and what you do. And I know some of you guys, as we saw in the chat earlier, some of you guys are buying Starbucks. So yeah, I'd definitely be curious to get your thoughts. So let me go over here to the chat, see what I missed here. So let me scroll up here. So I'm going to scroll. It looks like Striper left us. And I'm sorry if I missed some of your guys' if I miss some of your guys' comments, I'm trying to scroll up to see where we started talking about this here. So, mm, mm, mm. There we go. Deslock says, as the union grows stronger, Starbucks will decline. And I think that's the big question mark is how big ultimately will the union grow? Because like I said, it's a small thing right now. It's not even 1% of their overall sales. And I believe, I could be wrong on this, but I believe all of the unionized stores are just here in the United States, just here in North America. I don't know if there's any unionized stores. I don't think there is any unionized stores outside of North America. So, and there's a lot of Starbucks stores outside of North America. So I don't know. But yeah, definitely puts a question mark over the company. Yeah, some of you guys are saying it's noise. A lot of the union stuff is noise. Kevin says management has to fight bitterly with the union just to make a good presence. So David says there are studies that show a strong correlation, not causation, but correlation between strong teacher unions and learning gains. Is it similar in the business world? Would a strong union correlate to stronger sales? I don't know. Here's the thing, and this is talked about in the book as well. I actually have some notes on this. I've started taking book notes on this stuff too, and they talk about some of this stuff. Going back to when they had to close all the stores to reteach the employees, the partners, how to do the perfect pour. When Howard was coming back as CEO or came back as CEO, he felt that a lot of the employees the partners had lost their passion for the craft, because coffee is a craft, right? Making coffee is a craft in the same way that, making tequila or brewing beer is a craft. It's very much the same. And so Starbucks was built with that as a foundation for the love of coffee and wanting to sell good coffee and bring people together over that and share their passion for coffee. So, Howard's vision was he wanted that to the partners to share that same passion. And I think it just got to a point where the company was they speak about this directly. It got to a point where the company was just so focused on comp growth and opening new stores that it seemed to have lost kind of the heart and soul of the company and became more so, just doing things to appease Wall Street, which is something I'm sure that a concept we can all wrap our heads around, right? Those quarterly earnings calls, you want to report good numbers, and anything but will result in a lower share price. And you want to make the shareholders happy, and you want to make the institutional investors happy and stuff like that. And so as Starbucks grew, it naturally became a bit more corporate. And in that sense, it seemed that the employees kind of along the way, or the partners, kind of lost the passion for the craft, and they weren't as stoked about their jobs as maybe they used to be. And that came out in the product. And so, to your point here, Dave, would a strong union correlate to stronger sales? I don't know. I think generally, and the point that Howard made in the book was a strong, and this will make sense too, I'll try and lay it out, a happy and content group of employees or group of partners that enjoy their job and look forward to coming to work, that can correlate to stronger sales. Because especially something like this, where you see the same people coming in every day to get their usual drinks, you build a rapport with those people. I remember it was the same thing when I used to work at gyms. You'd see the same people coming in every day, and you get to know those people by name, and you establish a relationship. And in the case of Starbucks, that's one of those things that keeps people going back to those locations, is they feel like they belong to a sense of community where they're known and they're welcomed. And it's, in a sense, it's kind of like another home for them, a third place, right? And so somewhere along the way that was lost, and it had to be found again. And in general, though, I think the point is a happy base of employees or group of employees of partners would translate to better connection with the customers that come through, more enjoyment of the job, and that shows through the drinks that you make and the connections that you build. And that's what's going to create repeat customers and create loyal customers to come back and stuff like that. So I do think that's important. But like I said, it seems to be like the goalposts. I don't know. It it seems like it'd be one of those things where the goalposts are just going to keep moving, and they may just keep wanting more and more and more. And this is another point too. And I'm not on one side either way particularly, because I don't know, but I'm trying to see both sides, and I'm trying to wrap my head around both sides, and I don't know. It's a lot of moving pieces. But Deslock here says unions are fine for higher skilled laborers. Starbucks has low skilled workers that make coffee, which just about anyone can really do. And that's another component to it as well. So, I mean, you mentioned teachers union. You obviously have to go through a lot more schooling to be a teacher than you do to work at Starbucks. So I do think that is an important component to take into consideration, that maybe is something that's lost on a lot of the partners trying to unionize. But then again, I'm not knee deep in the situation, so I could be missing something there. And furthermore, like I said, Starbucks has always done a really good job of giving their partners benefits, part-time partners benefits, and over time have given them more and more and more. And so I don't know, the union thing's very interesting. Let's see. Sorry for the tangent on that, guys. You guys feel good about Blaze feels good about Starbucks in India. Adam says Starbucks is a great company. Can't worry that it's floundered a few years. In 10 or 20 years, that'll be doing great. And that's the timeline to own companies like that. Here we go. Greg says entitled coffee pourers are ruining it for the company. Unionized for coffee seems goofy. Yeah. Let's see. Blaze, how big is your position in Visa? I'll circle back on this. I want to get through a few more Starbucks comments, then we'll talk about Visa. There was a question about watches too, so I can answer that as well. So Jay says Starbucks is the McDonald's of coffee. Others will open stores, but they will always be on top. Yeah. Yep. Yeah, and I get asked from time to time, what do you think about? I think I might have gotten asked about this on Monday or in last week's Dividend Happy Hour. What do you think about McCosmics is gonna, or excuse me, I called it McCosmics, but it's just Cosmics. Is that going to be bad for Starbucks? I don't know. They're probably catering to a different type of customer. But I think it'd be hard to, because like I said, people are pretty ritualistic with their Starbucks and are pretty religious about it. So I think that'd be a hard habit to break. I think it'd be hard to convince regular Starbucks goers to switch locations and switch beverages and learn a whole new menu and stuff like that. So I think it'd be a pretty tall order. So let's see. Yeah. Cosmos. Don't sleep on McDonald's. Robert says, does the dividend from Starbucks even out with the weekly journey to Starbucks? Oh yeah, it totally does. I think I said I go maybe once a week on average, but it's actually probably less. It's probably once every couple of weeks, or maybe I might go 2 to 3 times a month, but I really don't go too often. My fiance goes more than I do. Sometimes I'll go with her and I just won't get anything. I'm kind of more like Kevin. I'm the at-home barista, but have yet to see a tip in the tip jar. Exactly. And we actually just got an espresso at home and got Starbucks. I don't know if you call them pods. You know what I'm talking about. It's kind of like the Nespresso is like the espresso version of Keurig. And we got the Starbucks pods for the Nespresso, which is pretty cool. It's really good actually. But yeah, I'm typically just a drip coffee guy. So let's see. Let's see here. There we go. We got Kevin in the building, Kevin Burgess. So Kevin just rebranded his channel to Wealth Circuit Investing. It kind of threw me off when I first saw it. I'm not going to lie, Kevin. But happy to see you, man. Hope you had a good week, and I hope you're doing well. And I also want to give a shout out to my friend Tortoise Investing. Good to see you, man. You guys go check out both of their channels. I know a lot of you guys probably already watch both of these guys, but in case you haven't, or in case you don't already, 2 good channels that I really recommend. They're putting out some good information on investing, and definitely recommend you guys check them out. So let's see here. Keep going. Kevin says, I wonder what the reaction, Kevin, you crack me up, man. What the reaction will be when I unionize. Nice. So I'm about 10 minutes behind in the chat. I'll scroll through some of these so I can get all caught up. Charles asks if I'm going to the Super Bowl. I am not going to the Super Bowl. I don't even know who's in the Super Bowl, to be honest with you. I don't follow football at all. I don't follow football. I don't follow baseball. I don't follow basketball. I'm really not a big sports guy. I grew up like really being into skateboarding and snowboarding and those type of sports, but I really don't pay attention to any sports. I don't pay attention to any sports. I don't really pay attention to any. Actually, that's not true. I do pay a bit of attention to like bodybuilding and powerlifting type stuff, but none of the main sports I'm not really that into. Um, oh, this is a really good question. Starbucks is a buy, but what's your second coffee pick? Maybe Dutch Bros? That's a really tough question. Because I like Dutch Bros. I really actually like going to Dutch Bros to get coffee. But as far as the stock, I'm not quite there yet. Last time I looked, I don't even think they were profitable. And I'm actually kind of curious. My parents just put a decent chunk of change into Dutch Bros because they're big. They go to Starbucks and Dutch Bros. And let me pull this up. I don't even think Dutch Bros is profitable. She asked me to look into it, and I haven't really had the chance, but I guess we'll do it right now. So I guess they are. Net income for 2021 and 2022 were negative, but in the trailing 12 months, that went into the green. So that's good to see. Earnings per share is finally positive. So yeah, we'll see what happens with it. I mean, the revenue growth's definitely been nice. I mean, it's pretty much quadrupled in the last 3 years or 4 years, right? But I think the profitability is kind of going down. Yeah. Profitability is definitely getting cut. So over time, we'll see how that levels out. But it is good to see them on an absolute basis, at least a little bit, on the bottom line, a little bit positive. So that's a step in the right direction. But yeah, I like Dutch Bros. Dutch Bros could be a good growth stock to own. We'll see what happens with it. So let's keep going here. Oh yeah, this is good too. I forget about Dunkin's. I actually really like Dunkin's. I'll tell you what though, we had a really we had a really bad experience at Dunkin's a couple months back, and so I don't know, it's not that crazy of a story. We go into a Dunkin's. There's one kind of not too far from where I live, so we go in there. Just got a random craving for Dunkin's over Starbucks one morning. Went in there. There's maybe us and I think one person in line ahead of us, and there's 3 employees. And man, they could not. And the drive-through was empty. So it was like basically just 2 patrons they were taking care of. Those 3 employees, they were so stressed out. You'd think that the sky was falling with how stressed and in shambles these 3 employees were. And it was like one of them was kind of an older lady. Another one was, and the other 2 were like two guys, I'd say, that were in their younger 20s. And you could tell they just like did not get along at all. There was no like teamwork between the 3. It was anyway. So, but anyway, they make our drinks and mine was fine. It was sweet as all be. It was like, there had to have been like 100 grams of sugar in that. And my fiance's was the same. It was too sweet for her, but I enjoyed it. I like sweet stuff like that. So, but we did not have a good experience with Dunkin's, and it was dirty. There was, in addition to the 2 patrons and them stressing out, there was someone had like spilled coffee that they hadn't cleaned up yet, and it was kind of starting to dry and get sticky. So it was just a bad ordeal. Let's keep going here. So, what's up, Ultra Runner? Good to see you, man. Hope you're doing well. Oh, this is cool. The 2007 World Barista Champion, James Hoffman, has a YouTube channel, and he dives into coffee brewing and all the intricacies. That's cool. I'd like to get into something like that because I drink coffee every day. So I think it'd be fun to learn some of the nuances, but some of the nuances of it and learn a bit more about the craft. But I feel the same. Honestly, I feel the same way about tequila. And I don't know. I just think tequila is really cool. And I figure if I'm going to I feel like I'd be more interested in learning about tequila than I would coffee. So that's something that kind of keeps me from doing so. But I don't know. I drink coffee a lot more than I do tequila. So maybe I should lean more towards that. So let's see. Oh, we got Taylor here for the first time in a while. Been a while since I watched you, Ryan. Good to be back. Good to have you back, my friend. Hope you're doing well. Thanks for tuning in. Let's see. Yeah, Villa says Starbucks is still overvalued in his opinion. I get that. You know, it's mid 90s. It's certainly not the lowest that we've seen it. It'd be really exciting if if it gets back down to, below $80 a share again. That'd be really cool. So there we go. Ultra Runner, $100 away from $9,000 in annual dividends. Wow, that's crazy. Good for you, my friend. That's quite the feat. You'll be there next month. Like at that rate, you'll be there next month. Let's keep going. So, yeah, Dutch Bro stock is not good. What's it done? I didn't look at the performance when we were taking a look at it. What's it done? I don't know if it's been good. So it's down 17% in the last year. So it's down more than Starbucks in the last year. And since its IPO, I mean, it's not going to show us so it's down. So 28, 36, 36, 28, $8 difference. So what's that, down about 30% or so? 25, 30%? No, yeah, no. Maybe 25%. Maybe 20 to 25% since IPOing, right? Check my math on that. Let's see. Yeah, this Anthony, what do you pair with your coffee? Mine's super simple, old fashioned. Oh man, old fashioned donuts. Ooh, yeah, I'd say that's up there for me too. But if I'm going to Starbucks and getting food or whatever, my thing really is a croissant. I'm powerless before croissants. Those are my favorite pastry for sure. Love a good croissant. Just a butter croissant too. Like chocolate, love a good chocolate croissant, but sometimes, just a plain old croissant is all you need. So I'd say that's ideal. But man, even just like a bagel, like a coffee and bagel with cream cheese. Oh man, I could never get sick of that. I also like to do what JD says here and put whiskey in the coffee. I do like that. Oh, this would be killer. This would be killer. Starbucks should make a stout. Just an idea. I wonder if they've thought about that. I feel like it's only a matter of time, just seeing how many, like hard beverages are starting to come out. And maybe that trend has passed. I don't really know, but that was a trend for a while. Like didn't Mountain Dew come out with an alcoholic drink? I think Rockstar came out with an alcoholic drink. Didn't Jack and Coke do a partnership too? Something like that. Starbucks, like a Starbucks stout would be really, really good. So, and they could totally license that. That wouldn't be the first time they've done that. They did that. I mean, they licensed their brand name to Nestle, who makes the ready to drink products. So I think it's Nestle who makes those. Oh, there you go. This is another good goal too for Ultra Runner. 250 shares from the DGRO goal now of 100 or of 1,000 shares. Wow. There we go. This is a good question here. So, and just a heads up, guys, we've got about 10 minutes here left in the stream. So Perry says flip-flopping between doing drip reinvestments or taking the dividends and dollar cost averaging into probably other things. Thoughts? I don't know. I think it just depends. I don't know that there's a right or a wrong answer. I used to drip, automatically reinvest all of my dividends. And then it got to a point, like when I started bringing in, 150, it's kind of getting up there in terms of monthly dividends. I decided to turn it all off and just manually reinvest the dividends from there. I felt that at that point it was a large enough amount of money that it would really help, like whatever I was trying to build up for that month or that point in time. I felt like that those dividends could really help further that goal. So I felt that it made sense to turn all the drip off, automatic reinvestments off, just collect that dividend and then, reinvest it into whatever it is I'm trying to build up at the time. But I think if you're just starting out, if you're someone who's just kind of getting going with dividends, And if you're someone who's just like buying ETFs and dollar cost averaging into ETFs every week, or even just dollar cost averaging into the same individual positions every week, I think, for the sake of simplicity, you might as well just keep the dividend reinvestments on, the drip on. So, but like I said, there's really no right or wrong answer. It's preferential. So, JD says Guinness in Dunkin's partnership coming. Huh. Okay. Ooh, there we go. Maybe a shot of coffee flavored moonshine with the morning cup of coffee just might put her in a better mood. I really like moonshine. I used to know some people who would make homemade moonshine, and it was some of the best stuff that I think I've ever had, just in terms of like just alcohol. And that stuff gets the job done too, for sure. Robert says if Starbucks charges more for coffee than McDonald's or Dunkin', then they need to share with partners. Dividend investors make their coffee at home. Let me read this again because I'm not quite sure I understand this. If Starbucks charges more for coffee than McDonald's or Dunkin', then they need to share with partners. Dividend investors make their coffee at home. I don't think that's a true all across the board. I think that there are still plenty of investors who go to Starbucks. And Starbucks does share with their partners. I mean, Starbucks has a pretty sweet, I don't know the specifics, but a pretty sweet stock compensation plan for all of their partners. So, which I think is also a really good, if you're, and a lot of people just don't really understand, I think, what the stock compensation is, or this just goes back to people not understanding investing. But I'll tell you what, man, if I worked at Starbucks, I would be I feel like getting those stock compensation or getting stocks, being compensated with stocks from Starbucks if I worked there, for me, that would be huge motivation to do the best that I can at my job. But then again, it's like most people don't realize that stocks are slivers of these actual businesses. They just think of these things that go up and down. But it's like for me, connecting the dots, it makes sense. It's like, yeah, okay, if I'm owning stock in this company that I work for, I want this company to do the best that I can. For it to do the best that it can, I have to do the best that I can. I have to, good customer service, make the best drinks that I can, have pride in my job, and I don't know. I think that the two kind of have a flywheel effect. So I don't know, but Starbucks definitely shares with their partners. I mean, Starbucks partners, and by partners, I'm talking about their employees because that's what they call their employees. They call them partners. Man, they're compensated way better than like most other restaurant or most other retail companies. So, oh, this okay. Here we go. So, hey Ryan, never heard your answer to how much you started with and what you invested in starting out. Okay, so this might be kind of a long answer, so I'll make this like one of the last ones of last ones of the night. I see one more that I want to get to, so we'll end up going a few minutes over tonight. Um, so how much I started with and what you invested in starting out. So you can see if you go to my channel, just go to like my earliest video. You can see what my portfolio looked like when I basically first got started with investing. I started making videos about investing here on the channel mm, probably between 9 months to a year after I first started investing like seriously for myself. And prior to that, I started posting videos on here in October of 2020. So I started really investing sometime towards the end of 2019, I think. Maybe started 2020, somewhere in that range. And prior to that, when I first started investing seriously, I'd opened up a Robinhood account. But prior to that, I had been putting money aside in just like some, automated brokerages. At first, I had Acorns, and I started that from zero. And I was, for a period of time, I was putting like $5 a week into there and whatever. And then Acorns, I evolved from Acorns, went to Stripe or Stripe. What is it? I think it's called Stripe. Stride, maybe? No, what's it called? You guys know what I'm talking about? Stride? No, that's not the name. What's it called? I don't remember what it's called, but it's a gosh, why can I not? I know one of you guys will know it, so say it in the chat if you do. Um, yeah, let me know if you guys know what it is. Stash, yes, Stash. Thank you so much. So I went from Acorns to to Stash here, and I don't know why I didn't remember that. I went from Acorns to Stash, which is kind of like a step up from Acorns, but like a step down from Robinhood in terms of the control you have over your investments. And so that was kind of step two. I just transferred everything from Acorns into Stash. And then at some point, I just decided to transfer it over into Robinhood. And probably that decision came from me starting to watch investing stuff on YouTube and starting to get into it and seeing, the people I was watching investing on Robinhood. So I thought, I need to be on that platform. If those guys are doing it, I need to do it too. And so I jumped over to Robinhood. At that point, I probably had, oh gosh, I'd probably had $3,000 or $4,000 in that portfolio at the time. But with that said, at that same time, I also had a custodian account or custodial account that was set up for me when I was pretty young. I was probably maybe 12 or 13. And my parents set up a custodian account for me. And then every Christmas, every birthday, I'd always get money. And I actually, for Christmas this year too, I got it again, just money from our Charles Schwab account. So since that happened, every time I get a gift from my folks, that's one of the things I get is money for Charles Schwab. And it was kind of a running joke in the family. I won't go too into it because I've told the story 100 times. And I know a lot of you guys have heard it half of that amount. But so anyway, I had that going on as well. So I probably had $7,000 in there, maybe $6,000, $7,000 in there when I started taking investing seriously back in 2019, early 2020. And then I had $3,000 or so that I moved into Robinhood. So in total, I had about 10 grand. And by the time I started the channel, I had I think about $15,000 in total. And don't ask me why I didn't just invest more into Charles Schwab since I already had it. I don't know. I didn't. I had no idea. Maybe I thought Robinhood was cooler, But that's pretty much where I started out with investing. And like I said, you can go over to the channel and see some of the earliest investments that I started out with, and a lot of them a decent amount of them I still have, like Coca-Cola, Procter and Gamble, Starbucks is one of the first ones I bought. AT&T and Verizon, I believe, were some of the first ones I bought too. I still have those. Is what it is with those guys, but yeah, you can go check it out. It's kind of interesting to look back on all that. So, let's see. What is this? Wow. Okay. But that was a really good question. So hopefully that answered it there. Okay. I also wanted to answer this from Eric. Said, genuine question. Did you not do a Roth/401k with your previous full-time job? Now, the previous job that I had, it actually didn't give me benefits. So I didn't have any retirement account or anything like that. And so, yeah, so that's all been stuff I've kind of just had to do on my own. But it's fine. It's all good. So let's see where we at here. This is a good question. Is there a dividend tracker or spreadsheet that calculates compound yield on cost? So my free portfolio tracking spreadsheet shows you your yield on cost. I'll show you what that looks like. Hopefully, sorry guys, I think I went away for a sec. Little technical difficulties there. Let me jump over to this. So yeah, my spreadsheet will calculate yield on cost. You can see right here. This is my yield on cost for my two portfolios combined, my Charles Schwab account and my Roth IRA and M1 Finance. My yield on cost is 4.37%. And you can go into the positions tab here and see the yield on cost for each individual position as well. So that's calculated all there for you, nice and easy. but I think most, actually, I shouldn't say that. I want to say most like portfolio tracking platforms will show you your yield on cost, but I'm actually not sure if that's true. Let me see if GetQuinn does. Let's jump over here. And GetQuinn is another one that I've been using pretty heavily, guys. I really like this platform, and I think you guys will like it too. So, and it's free to sign up too. You can make a free account, and there's a link to it in the description of the video. But I highly recommend you guys check this out. Oh yeah, it does show your yield on cost. Mine's a little bit skewed because it I started using it back in November of last year, so it doesn't have all of my previous dividends going back to 2020. But if I do this, like for example, I guess it won't update that too. But if you have all of your dividend payments input here, it'll show you a more accurate yield on cost. Just for me, it's not. It's a little bit wonky. So, but yeah, once again, guys, this has been a really great platform, and it automatically syncs to your brokerage account. So all my dividends, all of my transactions, everything, it's automatically synced in here. So very cool stuff. Let's keep going though. Oh, that's super nice. John says, watching from work. Your content's great, man. Thank you. I really appreciate that. I appreciate you tuning in. And hope work's going well for you, man. Yeah, JT says, I left Robinhood for Fidelity, never looked back. Yeah, I actually really liked using Robinhood. I thought it was a really easy to use platform, but I also really like Schwab. I think Schwab has some really great features, and you really just can't beat the customer service from a brokerage like Charles Schwab or Fidelity. I actually had to call Schwab a couple weeks ago over when I first started my Visa position. I bought like the first share, and it wasn't showing up in my brokerage account. So I don't know, I was kind of freaking out about it a little bit. And so I called Schwab and talked to them about it, and they talked me off the ledge, and it ended up working out. But I was able to talk to someone within like 60 seconds of being on hold. It was nice. So yeah, I like using Schwab. Yeah, and I need to go pretty soon, guys, and have some dinner. But man, you guys keep asking me these good questions. I can't resist. So what did you do for work before you started YouTube, if you don't mind me asking? Yeah, I don't mind asking at all. I'm a pretty open book. So before starting YouTube, I was working in digital marketing and social media marketing. So I worked with an agency and was contracted through an agency. I was an independent contractor, and we would essentially handle all of the social media for different businesses in Sacramento where I was living. So these could be things like restaurants, hotels, real estate agents, mortgage brokers. It was kind of all across the board. Tourism boards. I did all the tourism for the city of Davis in California for a long time, which was really cool. Davis, Woodland, where else? All of Yolo County, pretty much. I don't expect all of you guys to know where that is, but yeah, so we would handle all of their social media basically once a month, get all the content for them, the pictures, the videos, stuff like that. And then basically from there, go make posts and post everything on social media from Instagram, Facebook, and stuff like that. Some of them doing blog stuff, some web stuff. But for the most part, it was just social media. In my job, like I pretty much there was one point where I was doing all of that. I was doing all the pictures and video. I was scheduling out all of the posts, writing all the captions, responding to all the comments, stuff like that. So it was a lot. But then as time goes on, I was able to get rid of some of those responsibilities and just handle the social media stuff. So that was cool. But yeah, then I was fortunate enough, thanks to all of you guys and all of your support, I was fortunate enough October of 2022 to officially go full time with YouTube. So, and that's been one of the biggest blessings of my life. I seriously, every day I have to pinch myself that I get to do that, or get to do this rather. It's just so much fun. Curry here says, I wanted to try GetQuinn, but they don't import from Fidelity. Yeah, from my understanding, someone else emailed me about this the other day. I think it was Trevine. Trevine, if you're watching, I think it was you. I apologize if it wasn't. But yeah, so my understanding is that Fidelity, okay, platforms like GetQuinn and the Dividend Tracker use Plaid, something called Plaid, to connect your brokerage account and get that information. And fun fact, Visa tried to acquire Plaid back in 2020, but it was shot down by the DOJ for antitrust reasons. But a lot of those big brokerages those big platforms use Plaid to connect your brokerage account or your bank account, whatever it is. And I think Fidelity, I don't know that I don't think they're giving Plaid access to their customers' accounts. And because it's an issue on the Dividend Tracker as well, where I don't believe you can import from Fidelity. And there's even like limited syncing with M1 Finance as well. But it's just an issue between Fidelity and Plaid, from my understanding. I could have that wrong, but that's what I think it is. Lucas says, I love the talk on Starbucks. I learned some new things on the company. It makes me want to buy some more shares. Well, good, man. I'm glad you enjoyed that. It was fun to put some of this stuff together. And I just recently finished going through Visa on my Dividend database, just doing all of my deep dive research into Visa. And Starbucks is the next one that I want to start going through. And as time goes on, guys, it's going to take me a long time to get through everything. But as time goes on, I want to do full deep research, revisit all of the companies in my portfolio, and have all that information, all of that research housed in my database. That's my goal for, I don't know how long it's going to take. It's going to take a while. But Starbucks is next on my list. I'm going to go through and do a really deep dive on Starbucks and take as many notes as I can on it. And the Visa stuff I want to share with you guys at some point. I just need to figure out the best way to do that. But yeah, I'm interested for you guys to see those notes and see the database in action, because it's been really cool. Yeah, here we go. We'll make this the last one right here. So have you ever heard of a beer called Honey Brown from Genesee Brewing Company? No. So let's go check it out. So it's called Honey Brown Genesee Brewing. So let's check it out here. So Genesee, hopefully I pronounced that right. Are you 21 years old? Why, yes, I am. There we go. Front and center. This isn't your watered down light beer from college, nor is it a heavy craft. Pours smack dab in the middle. Good. It helps you stay true to yourself. I appreciate that. Enjoy it with friends. I'd like doing that. Enjoy it with strangers. Doesn't matter to us. Just enjoy it. Beer with honey. That sounds pretty good. Wonder if they have any here in Vegas. Darth, if you're watching, so Darth Dividend, there's been a beer that he's been wanting me to try, and he says there's a way to find it in Vegas. I think it's one of his local breweries. I don't remember the specifics, but Darth, if you're watching, man, I still need to do it. So Las Vegas, let's search within, let's go 25 miles. Any location. Yeah, we'll look for this one specifically, then maybe we'll zoom out. So none of that. It might not. Okay. Oh, there we go. Huh. Okay. So there's some that's really not too far from me at all. Let's see what's by Red Rock here. Rebel Convenience Store. Okay. Genesee. So I'll have to look them up. So let me see. Because we were talking about stouts earlier. Let's see if they have their Imperial Stout anywhere. No locations found. Okay. Well, maybe I'll have to swoop some up. Here we go. Striper Kiss said, "Wow, still going." Yeah, we're still going, but we're about to call it a night, just as you're whipping up your Tito's over there. So, but yeah, you came in at just the right time, my friend. Got to catch the ending of the stream. But with that said, guys, thank you so much for hanging out with me this last hour and 15 minutes. It was a lot of fun, and fun talking to you guys a little bit about Starbucks. And one closing thought. I should have brought this up earlier in the stream. One closing thought that I want to share before we sign off for the night. Something I've been thinking about. So last week when we did a stream, there wasn't really much of a plan. It was just actually 2 weeks ago, there wasn't really much of a plan. And that was kind of fun. We just kind of hopped on here, looked up some stocks, and it kind of went where it went. Versus something like tonight where there was a whole presentation, there's a direction with it, yada, yada, yada. And moving forward, I think I'm going to do some more of those, just loosey goosey, no plan, no presentation, no real direction with the stream. I might work some of those into the mix. For me, those are a lot of fun, and it's fun just being able to bounce around with you guys and see where the stream goes. Sometimes it's fun to do a presentation, kind of like we did tonight, but sometimes I don't know that I have anything good to talk about. So I don't always want to force it, if that makes sense. So I just wanted to give you guys a heads up that there may be times in the future where it's just no plan. Sometimes no plan is the best plan, and there's going to be times where I'm gonna rock with that. So I just wanted to share that. That was a thought that I've had kind of earlier today that I wanted to get out to you guys. But that's all. That's all. Otherwise, guys, once again, thank you so much for hanging out with me and tuning into another very fun Dividend happy hour. What else can I say to you guys? I mean, keep up the great work. You guys are all crushing it. Keep climbing. Keep stacking that cash flow. And I hope you all have a fantastic weekend and you stay safe out there. No, guys, I don't want to get any emails. I don't want to get any calls, Shamir, of, you need bail money. You need me to come bail you out of jail. I don't want to get any of that this weekend, guys. So just be good. Be good this weekend, okay? And Charles, man, if you're still watching, hope you are. If you're still watching, happy birthday once again. I hope you have the best day. And hope you have a fantastic birthday weekend, my friend. Best year. Make it a good one. So yeah. Let's see where the stream goes is a phrase you never want to hear in the bathroom. Well, fortunately, Adon, we are far from the bathroom, my friend. So that was pretty good. That was good stuff. So yeah, you guys are the best. Thank you so much. I hope you have a good weekend, and I'll see you in the next one.